the way our last episode finished off was that question that I asked you. Why would avian conservationists and clean energy advocates be at odds?
Because they're a bunch of bastards.
Like, wouldn't you think they'd be on the same side?
Yeah.
So, what is frequently suggested is that the left has an agenda to push for wind turbines because of fitting into the Green New Deal, or to subsidize certain wind turbine companies, et cetera, things like that. And sure, corporate interests being funded by the U.S. should be scrutinized. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But bird conservation, they don't seem to be something that we can equate with right-wing agendas.
Okay.
So what's the deal here? What's going on? And with the evidence showing that fossil fuels and even just buildings are far more harmful than wind turbines, what's going on? What is the problem here? What's happening? Now, it is almost certainly true that there are a lot of people legitimately concerned about birds being killed by wind turbines. Take Navarre, for example. And I don't like that it happens either. I don't like that. I don't like that birds are being killed by these wind turbines, and I don't like that any animal is ever killed by human impact.
No,
I really don't like it at all.
I don't either.
And in fact, I was a vegetarian for a long time because I didn't like the way humans were treating animals in the food industry.
Yeah, and that seems like a pretty common reason for, veganism or whatever you call it.
Yeah, well, I was just vegetarian.
I mean,
I was still drinking milk and eating cheese.
But I mean, we're pretty cruel to animals. Yeah. We can be pretty awful.
Yeah. There's a lot of horrible things that happen to animals, and after seeing some of the stuff that happens to animals in the food industry, I decided to give up eating meat. So I definitely care about the well-being of animals. So anyway, something that was really odd in my reading, almost none of these sites address the fact that fossil fuels, which is what we're trying to replace with clean energy, kill more birds per gigawatt hour than wind energy. That seems really odd, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of the most compelling arguments against wind energy come from a source that I think anyone can appreciate, and that is from SaveTheEaglesInternational.org. It's a .org, and it's about saving eagles. And when you go to their site, it's not all anti-wind. There are a lot of saving eagles and other birds posts. Where I first saw this website referenced was in a petition against wind farms in Alameda County. This was written by the president of Save the Eagles International, and according to the testimony, he is also the chairman of the World Council for Nature.
Okay.
So, if this guy's against wind energy, we should take him seriously. He has some real credentials here. Except the first link I clicked from him was his World Council for Nature link. It's a .org site. Tell me what you see when I click on this.
I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like a gambling thing. That's the word.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm seeing pictures of soccer, and it looks like a lot of gambling and stuff.
Yeah. It's really weird, So his credential, one of his most
I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah, so one of his most official sounding credentials, being the chairman for the World Council for Nature.
Okay.
He provided a link for us to follow.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about nature in there.
I didn't either.
No.
I just saw a bunch of ads for gambling and then some foreign language I didn't recognize right off. I
don't really know what was going on there.
Yeah. So WCFN.org, for anybody who wants to go there and see how much about this is related to conservation, check it out. I encourage you to do so because honestly, I thought I was going to get a virus. I noped out of there immediately because
it doesn't look like a reliable website.
It looked like
looks
just
bad.
A bunch of places for viruses, and I do not speak whatever language that was.
No, I don't even. I can't even really take a guess. I'm not sure.
It may be Laotian. I'm not sure. I really
it could
don't.
Be.
Anyway, so then I clicked the Save the Eagles International, which is he's the president of that one.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to not find it ripe with anti-wind and anti-solar rhetoric. And it had a timeline filled with different kinds of birds. But notice I said timeline.
Okay.
So essentially the link takes you to a blog on this site. Before I get into the blog, I want to talk about this CEO, guardian of the galaxy, supreme overlord of international saving the Eagles, whatever. Anyway, his name is Mark Duchamp. And
what? Mark Douchebag? What?
Yes, Mark Douchebag is his name. So, and as somebody who cares about conservation and saving eagles, I'm sure he comes from a good place. So he probably doesn't have any agenda other than saving eagles when it comes to opposing wind power. But strap yourself in. Strap yourself the fuck in. Because I found his Facebook page.
Oh, God.
And holy shit, you are not ready for this. So let's start with a little one. We'll just get ourselves acclimated, you know. You don't want to go from 0 to 60 right away.
No, you get whiplash doing that.
So here's a post from Mark Duchamp. He reposted somebody named Steve Huff, and Steve Huff posted, "Breaking my own rule on political posts. This is just too important to stay quiet about. Please," and then all caps, "please watch and share it everywhere you can. Virginia is about to legally lose the majority of our Second Amendment rights if we don't stop this now."
Second Amendment, isn't that the right to bear arms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Okay, big Second Amendment guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything necessarily. And in fact, a lot of hunters are big conservationists as well. Okay. Because they, experience nature.
Sure.
And they also happen to be Second Amendment boasters. So nothing too weird going on here, but let's keep reading his Facebook page. Here's an article that Mark shared. HR 1 is nothing but a power grab designed to elect Democrats. House 1 resolution should really be called the Fill the Swamp Act. This crooked piece of legislation would mandate a colossal takeover of the state election process to empower big government liberals and corporate interests. So, of course, Democrats are trying to force it through. It seems every year that passes, more and more power is shifted away from the people into the hands of the wealthy, elite few in Washington. These politicians and bureaucrats love micromanaging more and more of our everyday lives. From our roads and bridges, our firearms, our relationships to our doctors, our elementary schools, our farms, even our toilets. These freedom and federalism hating politicians can't help themselves from interfering with Americans' choices. I'm going to briefly touch on one thing because I'm sure we're going to end up having to do an entire episode on this certain thing that I'm going to mention. So I'm just going to briefly mention it.
Okay.
So they love micromanaging more and more of our everyday lives. And one of the examples was our elementary schools. Who's trying to ban fucking books right now? The right wing.
Yeah.
Big fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
The left wing is like, we want to have everything available for anybody who wants to learn, Whereas the right wing wants to ban these books, and they also want to ban teaching about LGBTQ matters. That is micromanaging our elementary schools.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is even fucking coming from. It does not make any sense. I don't know where it's coming from. And Mark, according to his post, can't believe that this is happening. That's what he said. He just can't believe it.
I believe that he can't believe it.
I believe that he says he can't believe it's happening.
Yeah.
So, the bill that this article is referring to and that Mark is just in disbelief about is called the H.R. 1 bill, House Resolution 1. So, the one that they're calling the Fill the Swamp Act, which is obviously banking on a talking point from Donald Trump about how he wants to drain the swamp, even though he turned out to be extremely corrupt.
Right. Okay, so what does that mean? Like, I didn't follow Trump at all. What is drain the swamp? What is that?
So essentially, Donald Trump was saying that the White House was filled with too many corrupt people, and he's going to, quote, drain the swamp, meaning that he's going to get rid of corruption.
Okay.
But let's see what the side who introduced this bill, the H.R. 1 bill, has to say. This is from Representative Zoe Lofgren's page on the bill from House.gov. H.R. 1 is a sweeping package of pro-democracy and anti-corruption reforms to put power back in the hands of the American people by ending the dominance of big money in politics, making it easier, not harder, to vote, and ensuring that politicians actually serve the public interests. H.R. 1 offers the most transformational and comprehensive democracy reforms in more than 4 decades, following through on Democrats' election promise to clean up the chaos and corruption in Washington. Which is 100% the opposite of what this stupid fucking article said.
Okay.
It is absolutely the opposite. They could not be more incorrect. So with their article, it just it blows my mind. That the article reads that it's Fill the Swamp Act, and it's a colossal takeover to empower big government and corporate interests and put more power into the hands of the wealthy, when that's the exact opposite of the purpose of the bill. Now, you can criticize things that the government do. Absolutely. Because I do all the time. I fucking hate the government a lot of times.
That's all right as American.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my favorite things about the U.S. is that I can do this podcast and not worry about, if the government's going to shut us down because of me bitching about them. And I do a lot. And I bitch about, even the current president, who I'd still rather have over the Republican. Yeah. I bitch about him, and I bitch about the government a lot. And I'm allowed to do that. And that's one of my favorite things about the United States. But this article saying the opposite of what H.R. 1 actually does is just a fucking lie. It is a pure lie to try to elect more Republicans. And not just Republicans, because the people who share this kind of crap also hate other Republicans because they're not far right enough. And it's okay to criticize. It's okay to bring attention to things that you think are wrong. But to just flat out fucking lie like this is not okay. And it should be scrutinized. And more people should be able to recognize when some of these people with political agendas are just feeding pure bullshit. Because there are some talking points on the right that could have some substance to them, but they don't focus on those things. Instead, they decide to focus on these lies because they're more popular and they sound more exciting than what the reality is. And it's upsetting to see it behave that way, because I want to try to have a balanced view between the left and the right. I want to try to give credence where it's due between both sides, but I find myself having to side with the left so much more often because the right wing spreads fucking crap like this that is purely not based on reality. And it's infuriating. It pisses me off because I would prefer to see a debate between two sides that are sincerely arguing for their points and not just playing a fucking game like these people, and not just making shit up. And so anyway, they're full of fucking shit. They have no fucking leg to stand on when it comes to this, and it really does not need to continue. So, anyway, I went on a little bit of a rant there.
That's all right.
But I'm not going to get into this the useless cycle of Dems versus Republicans they said this, they said that, blah, 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 because like the right's going to say, oh, but Tucker Carlson said this. And the left's going to be like, oh, but Keith Olbermann said this. And I fucking hate both of them. And the thing is, I'm super left leaning. But the thing is, I don't really like news talking heads in general, even if they're on my side. The right wingers often see the left wing as having like a ploy to support wind energy, especially because of the Green New Deal and all that stuff. And also, a lot of these clean energy alternatives have come from the left in general.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that, say, Tucker Carlson has some weird or bizarre or fucking out of his goddamn batshit fucking mind, crazy, nonsensical agenda. Right?
Sure.
So it would be really crazy if it turned out that some of these places that I've been looking into, it'd be really weird if they just had some sort of batshit idea that they have an agenda to support.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
It would be fucking crazy if the chairman for the World Council for Nature had some kind of fucking nonsensical agenda. I mean, that'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He has posted a change.org petition. And we've talked about change.org before.
Yeah.
And as this guy is like the president of Saving Eagles, I'm sure this is going to be about eagles being killed.
Sure. Yeah.
So this is the title of his change.org petition. Petition with a exclamation point, all capital letters.
Serious.
Very serious. Stop all wind turbine projects until infrasound health is infrasound. Huh. What is infrasound health?
No idea. I was hoping it would explain more as you went along.
All right. Well, I guess I have to click in here and read the actual petition. Mm-hmm. I'm not giggling because this is really fucking stupid or anything.
No, of course not.
Okay. So thousands of people are living within 20 kilometers or 12 miles, roughly, of a wind turbine and may be suffering from health issues created by infrasound.
Okay.
Oh, don't laugh. This
no,
is serious.
I wouldn't dare. I'm sorry.
Serious
that was something else.
Don't laugh, Bobby.
Well,
don't laugh at infrasound health, okay? Don't laugh at it.
I'm not gonna.
Stop.
I don't know why you would think I would laugh at something like that.
I mean,
this
because
is serious
you
business.
just did.
No, I didn't.
But it's a
you
very
can't prove
serious
it.
subject.
You don't have a recording of that. There's no proof.
I do.
God damn it.
I do have a recording of that.
No, you don't. I'm gonna erase it.
It just happened. But these infrasound impacts on human health, they include reducing cardiac muscle strength.
Bummer.
Infrasound affects the inner ear and the brain, and can cause sleeplessness, emotional reactions, and many other distressing symptoms. Infrasound has even been investigated as a use as a weapon.
I'm not laughing.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh at this. This is serious stuff.
Okay.
Below are just a few of the many experts who have highlighted the problems. Adults, children, and animals are all at risk.
Mm-hmm.
I am asking you to sign this petition to help persuade governments all over the world to stop all wind turbine projects until the health issues caused by infrasound are thoroughly investigated by an independent body. This is very serious and a matter that cannot be ignored. A 5 megawatt wind farm would possibly generate a detectable infrasound signal even from a distance of 20 kilometers.
Whoa.
That's from Dr. Lars Serrana for the Institute for Geosciences and Natural Resources in Germany. And that is a good source to use. But let me read the quote again for you, and I want you to tell me what it says about the impact on humans' health. Quote, again, a 5 megawatt wind farm would possibly generate a detectable infrasound signal even from a distance of 20 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't see anything in there about the impact on human health.
No.
Or animal health.
No.
Or anybody's health.
It's detectable at 20 kilometers. I mean, that's good. But is that detectable because like little birds' heads are exploding or what?
Yeah, or like, maybe they're like with a certain type of microphone you could pick it up.
Yeah, I don't quite
it doesn't
why that would be a bad
really
thing.
like if that's their best quote. That's number one, by the way.
Lots of things are detectable at 20 kilometers. I mean, a really good bottle rocket would be detectable at 20 kilometers.
Yeah, no, I could hear it from 20, like a
exactly.
I hear a little pop.
It might take a second for it to get to you, but I mean, you'd notice it.
But it just said detectable. It doesn't say anything about human health. So let's read what his number 2 is here.
All right.
Number 2, quote, we can definitely say that under these acute conditions, infrasound really does have a distinct effect on heart muscle tissue.
Oh, okay.
Both series of tests have revealed a clear reduction in heart muscle strength. And this is from Christian Vall, the director of cardiac and vascular surgery at Mainz University Medical Center. That's not from the same study.
Okay.
But these quotes are stuck together as if one follows the other.
Yeah.
We have no idea if this person is referring to being right next to a wind turbine or living within 20 kilometers of one. We have no clue.
Right.
So, infrasound, Bobby.
Keep me awake all night.
Bobby, infrasound.
Yep.
If you don't believe me, let me read for you from the quarterly interdisciplinary journal called Noise and Health. Throughout history, people have suffered from physical symptoms that they have attributed to modern technologies. Often, these attributes are strongly held, but not supported by scientific evidence.
Who needs scientific evidence? I mean, that's just overrated.
That's just the way it starts. I'll keep reading. Symptoms attributed to the operation of wind turbines, and in parentheses, called wind turbine syndrome by some, may fit into this category. Okay. Several psychological mechanisms might account for symptoms attributed to wind turbines. First, the nocebo effect is a well-recognized phenomenon in which the expectation of symptoms can become self-fulfilling. Second...
Wait a minute. You expect symptoms so you get them? What?
Yes. Yeah.
I expect to have a broken foot tomorrow. I guess it's gonna come to work. It's a nocebo.
Well, yeah. So, so like a nocebo effect, it's like a placebo effect.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Except for a negative version of it,
That's
so, like, if you are if you're near a wind turbine and you expect it to impact you negatively, you're going to attribute your symptoms to that exposure.
Yeah, that's all the wind turbine's fault.
So, okay, exactly. Second, misattribution of pre-existing or new symptoms to a novel technology can also occur. Third, worry about modern technology increases the chances that someone attributing symptoms will attribute them to it. Fourth, social factors including media reporting and interaction with lobby groups can increase symptom reporting. For wind turbines, there is already some evidence that a nocebo effect can explain the attributed symptoms, while misattribution seems likely.
Mm-hmm.
Although worry has not been directly studied, research has shown that people who are annoyed by the sound that wind turbines produce are more likely to report symptoms, and that annoyance is associated with attitudes toward the visual impact of wind farms and whether a person believes the benefits are economically viable from wind farms. Given that these mechanisms may be sufficient to account for the experiences reported to sufferers, policymakers, clinicians, and patients should insist on good quality evidence before accepting a more direct causal link. So, the science doesn't exactly support the point that infrasound is causing these problems.
No.
Just that people who do not enjoy the sight of wind turbines or are very much influenced by some of these political talking heads talking against wind turbines, they're more likely to report symptoms, but there's no actual causal link that has been detected. What is awful about this, though, is that if you do Google about wind turbine syndrome or about the effects of exposure to wind turbine infrasound, one of the first results you get is, and this is a quote from Google, like this is one of the first things that pops up in Google when you search it.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, "It has been reported that noise from wind turbines can lead to such symptoms as dizziness, nausea, the sensation of ear pressure, tinnitus, hearing loss, sleeping disorders, headache, and other symptoms."
That's my problem. I have wind turbine syndrome.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been suffering from a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it's all wind turbines.
I'm calling into work on Tuesday. No, Wednesday. I don't want to lose my holiday pay.
There you go. I got wind turbine syndrome.
I got wind turbine syndrome. I'm sorry. I can't come in today. My ears all messed up.
That quote comes from PubMed, which does very thorough research.
Okay.
So if you just see this phrase on Google and just look at the source without reading into it, you're going to think that is really good information. However, if you click the link and continue to read with context, what it actually reads is whether or not this exposure can result in an array of described symptoms and disorders has been widely debated. It has been reported that noise from wind turbines can lead to such symptoms as, then it at least lists those symptoms.
Okay.
So the misinformation is pervasive. It's pervasive enough that when you search Google, it picks out that quote out of context. And it says, additionally, the term wind turbine syndrome has been coined to describe the association with these symptoms to wind turbine noise exposure. However, the level of scientific evidence in wind turbine research evaluated by several comprehensive reviews is poor, as most of the research used to reach this conclusion found in these studies has been based on mere case reports and other similar studies. So it's anecdotal evidence is what it is.
Yeah.
So basically, if I were to say, well, I was near a wind turbine and I got a headache, then they would have to put it in that report.
Yeah, that's wind turbine syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah, I got wind turbine syndrome. You know, like
WTS. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep. I'm like, hey, I'm calling into work. I got WTS, and they're gonna say WTF is what they're gonna say.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So anyway, the misinformation is very pervasive, and what makes these claims like the infrasound argument so robust right now is that while many studies on wind turbines have not shown any significant correlation between infrasound of windmills and health of communities, there have also been, or there haven't been robust studies enough to fully debunk the claim. So the infrasound argument against wind turbines can find a snug little place in the gaps of our knowledge. But there are two major things wrong with that position.
Okay.
One, why are anti-wind turbine sites associated with anti-solar panel causes? Yet fossil fuels are not addressed in any way. So I've read a dozen websites at least on this.
Mm-hmm.
They often link themselves to being anti-solar panel as well.
Okay.
But they don't talk about fossil fuels. Seems a little odd to me.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact that fossil fuels are known to kill more birds.
Yeah.
And even if you don't believe in climate change, just the buildings alone kill more birds. The other thing that's wrong with this is that if you're really that concerned about harm that an energy production is doing, you focused on wind energy as the target of concern. But why not petition to have the wind turbines further from your homes? Even according to the change.org petition, the concern area is about 12 miles. Whereas the effect of greenhouse gases are worldwide. So if you really care about your or anyone else's health and sincerely believe that the infrasound is dangerous, you would support wind energy, but you would just want it further away from where people live. I've read hundreds of pages over a month time, essentially, which ended up being longer than a month because since it took us so long to record this, I did end up reading even further into this.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not generally super interested in doing multi-parters for podcasts. And this subject, it could have its own entire series. It's actually still ongoing, which the most robust research seems to be in favor of wind energy, and the effects on the large scale, though, are still to be seen, essentially. But like any of the evidence that you see, wind energy has more benefits than it does harms. So
yeah, it seems like it. I mean,
killing 20,000 birds as opposed to 20 million, like that's
not a lot.
It's a huge difference, you know.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, what's its biggest downfall? It might be annoying to listen to.
Right. Yeah.
You get a squeaky one out there. That would be annoying.
Yeah. And
you ever had a squeaky ceiling fan or something like that? I'd be like, oh my God, shut it off.
And the misinformation about the infrasound causing problems to human health, it has been so robust. It has been so common throughout the internet that I almost bought it for a second until I kept reading. So it is a very pervasive bit of misinformation.
I suppose you could have one break apart and like fling pieces.
And that does happen. So
well, I mean, anything's gonna break eventually. Yeah.
And we have, but the thing is, like, we have a power plant that's right across the river, and I remember acid snow coming down over my house, So like it's like, and I didn't know acid snow was a thing until I experienced it.
I mean, it makes sense. You got acid rain.
One of the horrible things about acid snow, like So, I mean, obviously it's bad, but one of the bad things about acid snow is like you can hear when it hits the ground, it sizzle. Like you hear a sizzle as it hits the ground.
Buy new shingles for your roof.
It's nasty. It's nasty stuff is what it is. Yeah.
Well, acid anything pretty much is not going to be good.
But like, so the opposition to wind energy doesn't have much to stand on outside of the concerns of where these wind turbines are built, and the people who are most vehemently behind these oppositions, besides Guerrilla, the Navari website that I told you about.
Our new sponsor.
Yeah. So and I'm on their side. Like I'm on their side with their argument. Move the wind turbines. Don't put them where we live and where our wildlife is. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm fully on board with them.
That's going to be tough to do, though. I mean, you said, 12 miles, 20 kilometers, something like that?
Well, that's the thing, though, that they have coast sides. It doesn't have as much wind.
Yeah.
They have coast sides that they're willing to have wind turbines on, and it won't produce as much power, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, it'll have a less impact on the wildlife, and it'll have a less impact on them as a people. And so I'm like, okay, like as much as it sucks, like I'm okay with that trade-off. I think that's okay. And
you could just fill Antarctica with them. Maybe like there's nobody up there.
That'd be great. If we could get the energy, like
it's probably pretty windy up there, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Or down there
for Antarctica. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not up or down. It's south or north. But
whatever.
But like the thing is though that getting the energy from there to us would take energy to do. You know what I mean?
You just need a longer cable. That's right. You just plug it in. It'll be fine.
Yeah, well.
Of course, you don't want too many of them in the wrong spot because then the Earth's going to spin funny because there's too much wind going. And,
just they'll spin one way and then a little bit the other way.
Make sure they're pointing the right direction. Otherwise, you're going to have time going backwards and shit like that. And it's going to confuse everybody.
But the thing is though that these anti-wind people turn out to be rooted in these right-wing agendas, who have never given a shit or even half a shit about the environment in the first place. Like they don't give a fuck. Like they don't believe in climate change. They don't believe in science in general, to be honest. And it's just it's insane. Anyway, so what do you think, Bobby?
I think we need more wind turbines.
I think so too. Also more solar panels.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Now, one thing that can be argued is that Mark only opposes wind energy specifically because he's concerned about the effects on eagles. Right? Oh, no. Oh, I just saw a post from Mark Duchamp. This is a post sent to @RealDonaldTrump.
Okay.
Please help us get rid of crony capitalists such as the wind energy and the solar energy industry and the IPCC subsidy seekers. Enough with wasting taxpayer money on raising electricity bills. Doesn't sound like wind energy and conserving eagles is his agenda here.
Not really, no.
Yeah, no. It sounds like he might have something else to concern him. So I will defend Mark to the extent that he has been pretty active and consistent in his posts about supporting environmental causes. I went through his Facebook and I went back through 2012, actually. I went back that far. I read
11 years.
Shit ton of his Facebook. It took me hours and hours and hours to read through this, especially since he posts in Spanish, French, English, and Portuguese.
Oh my gosh.
And it seems to be mostly environmental causes. And I'm in support of environmental causes. But you lose me when you jump onto an anti-clean energy initiative because birds flew into a wind turbine. And you literally ask Donald Trump for help. I'm going to quote a tweet from Donald Trump The concept of global warming was created by and for the Chinese in order to make the U.S. manufacturing non-competitive.
Okay.
It's a statement so stupid that even he found it necessary to refuse he ever said it on the 2016 debate stage.
Nope, wasn't me. I don't know who said that, but it wasn't me.
So, if you were going to be calling yourself a conservationist,
I wouldn't dare.
And and you ask Donald Trump for help,
never.
You lose me at that point.
Yeah, lose me too.
If you are acting like an environmentalist and you ask Donald Trump for help, you lose me at that point. And so the original meme we went over, with the red kite who got killed.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fine, and I'm not being sarcastic this time. It's absolutely fine if it's to bring the attention to harm that's done to birds by wind turbines. I'm fine with that. I love the fact that people want to bring attention to it. But the comparison to oil spills, which is likely to kill 25 times as many birds, kind of kills the argument.
Yeah.
Plus, windmills are meant to reduce the reliance on fossil fuels, reducing these risks. And if you're being intentionally deceitful and actually have a hidden agenda when you make a meme like this, go fuck yourself. Anyway, we have a Twitter X account at meminglesspod. We don't really have a lot of followers on there, so if you want to follow us. Yeah. We got a shit ton of listeners.
Oh, yeah.
We got listeners all over the world. It's crazy.
Yeah, you guys rock.
But I feel like not a lot of them are using X, which I don't blame them. So hopefully we'll have a Blue Sky account soon. Bobby, any closing thoughts?
I don't know. I personally, I don't think windmills or wind turbines are such a bad idea.
I don't think so either.
I mean, they might take out a few birds, but what doesn't? I mean, anything that people make up are going to affect the animal
any tall thing
population.
Is going to. You know?
And not just the tall things. Anything we create. I mean, cars aren't very tall. They take out all kinds of birds. But birds adapted. They got shorter wings, and now they can take off faster.
Yeah,
so,
and
when's the last time you hit a bird with your car? In fact, I have hit one recently. And it surprised the shit out of me because usually they just get out of the way. I did not expect to hit that bird because they're always
very good at avoiding those kind of things.
And it just surprised me.
Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.